imagination taking over at times. When I stepped away just to get a drink of water, it's like, good Lord, what could be happening in areas just a few miles away from us?
People started really taking the storm seriously as it got closer to us. You could see the lines at the gas station were the longest I've ever seen.
Michael was by far the worst, the scariest thing that I've ever been a part of. I've never heard the wind like I did with Michael.
Down trees and power lines all across sections of Georgia that typically don't get hurricane force wind speeds, and it was very eye-opening to see that a storm of that magnitude could have such far-reaching impacts.
WTXL ABC 27 welcomes you to our 2019 Hurricane Special, Prepare Now, brought to you locally by Parker's Services.
Welcome to the WTXL ABC 27 Hurricane Special, Prepare Now. I'm First Alert Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse.
And I'm WTXL ABC 27 anchor Abby Maurer. Over the next half hour, we're going to give you everything you need to know to get you prepared for this year's hurricane season.
Information about how to prepare your home or apartment in the event of a hurricane.
How we use our social media and our Storm Shield app to keep you up to date on what's happening before, during, and after a hurricane.
We'll also check out new items you may want to include in your hurricane bucket.
And what should you do after a hurricane hits? From talking to FEMA to getting in touch with your insurance agent and how they assess the damage.
We'll also take a look at the forecast for this upcoming hurricane season.
And we'll take you back in time and reintroduce you to the lady we met last year gassing up ahead of Hurricane Michael and how she's preparing this year after Hurricane Michael damaged her home last year.
But first, let's take a look back at the 2018 hurricane season. Of course, Hurricane Michael was the big one, but overall, it was a very active hurricane season. Alberto started from a blob of disorganized cloud cover on May 25th. The wind pattern in the upper part of the atmosphere provided the action and motion to start its formation into a subtropical storm. A subtropical system is slightly different from a tropical system because there is cooler air contained in it. This helps make it somewhat ragged, but still able to cause a lot of rain and wind.
Alberto moved north from the western Caribbean into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, where warmer air took over and allowed it to become a tropical storm. Alberto's highest winds topped out near 65 miles per hour before crossing the coast at the Bay-Walton County line on May 28th. Though the peak wind gusts locally were less than 50 miles per hour, the onshore wind contributed to a storm surge in the Big Bend and Forgotten Coasts.
We've come and we've gone through the storms and the hurricanes before, so Alberto was, we dodged one.
Tropical Storm Gordon took its time developing from a distant Atlantic disturbance into a tropical storm southeast of the Florida Keys on September 3rd. It kept a steady northwest track into the eastern Gulf, then hit the Mississippi coast in the late night of September 4th, with highest wind speed of 70 miles per hour.
Tropical Depression Gordon is piling up huge rainfall totals in parts of the south, including more than 10 inches in the Florida Panhandle. Let's get straight to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse for the very latest. Cass.
This was 24 hours ago, the onset of the worsening conditions across the western Panhandle with the circulation of Gordon making landfall. A wicked combination of very warm Gulf waters and a persistent disturbance in a prime spot for development triggered the growth of Tropical Depression 14 on October 7th into a potent Hurricane Michael.
Debris all in the road as Michael came through Tallahassee.
You got to either hang tough or just go, God, I wish I'd have left when I had time.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Devastation was widespread and not just at the coast. Michael maintained hurricane-force wind deep into southwestern Georgia. Communities struck by the hurricane's eye suffered significant damage.
Remember who we are. We're a loving community. We're a neighboring community that when one's down, we pick each other up.
Getting the most up-to-date weather information before, during, and after a storm is extremely important.
The WTXL First Alert weather team is committed to keeping you in the know. In addition to our broadcast coverage, we are all over social media. And this year we have the added advantage of utilizing our Storm Shield app.
It's all hands on deck here in the Weather Center at the first sign severe weather is coming our way. Our top priority, keeping you informed every step of the way.
The peak winds 110 expected to increase.
And we're using social media to do that, making sure we're reaching all our communities every way we can. As storm tracks and models are updated, we're using Facebook, Twitter, and our website to push out the latest warnings and advisories. In addition to keeping you up to date from in the Weather Center, we're streaming live to Facebook and our news apps, so even if your power cuts out, you still receive alerts. A new way to stay in the know this hurricane season, our Storm Shield app. It has all the severe weather alerts you need, unique to your location, right here on your digital device. You can upgrade for bonus alerts like storm tracks, real-time lightning data, and details about where and how fast the strongest storm cells are moving. You also play a big role in our social media plan. As we're tracking storms, we're interacting with you, our viewers, to let us know what you're seeing on the ground. As we work to keep you informed from here in the studio, you can help us know what's happening in your community because social media is one of the best ways to stay connected.
Thank you, Valerie. The First Alert Weather Team will have you covered through as many platforms as we can in order to keep you informed whenever severe weather hits our area.
That's right. Coming up, we'll take you through what you need to do to prepare for a hurricane at home, including if you live at an apartment. Prepare Now returns in a moment.
I hope you're finding our program useful and informative to you, but if you still happen to have some unanswered questions, join me on our WTXL Tallahassee Facebook page starting at 8 o'clock. I'll take your questions, and I hope I have some answers for you.
Strong storm, the trees are down, and the lights are out.
Not much you could do without power.
No air conditioning, no refrigerator.
Now what?
I get how strong the storm was, but I need my power back.
We get it. We don't just work for FPL. We're customers too.
After a storm hits, restoring power safely and as quickly as possible is our #1 priority. That's why we never stop preparing. We make sure we use the latest technology and have the best resources in place so we can be ready to respond in good weather and bad. We're not going to stop until all our lights are back on. For your family, for ours, in every community we serve, count on us.
Storm season is here. We're ready. Are you?
Here at Row Roofing, we know what it takes to get the job done. We've been here for over 30 years, and we'll be here for 30 more. We understand what you give to put the roof over your head. Put your dollars back into your #1 investment, your home, your family. Because when it's all said and done, this is the sign you want in your yard. Visit rowroofing.com or call us today, 850-386-7663.
In our fight for justice, our day starts before most are awake, preparing for the battles ahead. Whether it's fighting for a client that's been injured or wronged by an insurance company, in our journey for justice, this is where many of our days end. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Welcome back. Having a hurricane plan in place at your house or your apartment can make all the difference in a major weather event.
WTXL ABC 27 meteorologist Alex Cordero takes a look at some ideas and suggestions you might want to consider as you're mapping out your hurricane plan at your home or apartment.
For many of us, the past 3 years have been busy enough to be constant reminders of how important it is to prepare for an incoming storm. If you choose to stay or leave, it is wise to make sure your dwelling is safe and secure for a long duration of time.
Be as proactive as possible. We can't emphasize enough having all of the supplies on hand that everyone recommends.
If you own a house and there are nearby trees, make sure they are trimmed and remove overgrowth and excess branches. If you rent an apartment, the property owners will likely take care of that.
As far as we go, we do everything we can with our storm drains, making sure gutters and drains are all clear, making sure our trees are trimmed back as much as we can to prevent any damages to the homes.
For the inside, it's always a good idea to grab the materials you need well before a watch or warning is issued.
You can't emphasize enough how quickly things can go wrong.
Whether it's a house or apartment, many of these suggestions to prepare for a storm are the same.
Clearing items off your patio spaces, pulling things away from windows, anything that can prevent serious damage inside your home.
But if you do live in an apartment, there are some different ways you need to stay prepared. For instance, renter's insurance.
Making sure you have enough if everything's damaged, making sure you don't just get the minimum. You want to think about, if your home is damaged, do you have enough to get a new bed? Do you have enough to replace your clothes?
Check with your property owner for information such as when services like maintenance may reopen, as well as information on clearing debris or damage. Whether you live in a house or in an apartment, power loss is a very realistic possibility when a storm threatens. Make sure you back up your private and personal data from your computers in case you lose power. And if that power loss does happen, the freezer and the fridge, they're not going to work. You're going to want to make sure you have enough non-perishable food to last for a few days. Coming up, we'll talk about what you should have in your hurricane kit, including some cool gadgets you might want to have on hand to get you one step closer to being prepared now.
Every year we talk about what items to include in your hurricane bucket at home. Food, water, medicines, documents, and more. The basics stay the same, but this year there are a few new items that you can consider for your kit.
There are dozens of different hurricane preparedness lists online and in stores with all of the basics listed out. But as you're getting your bucket together, you may think of other items to include to make surviving after the storm easier.
You want to make sure you have things like your shampoo and soap and even toilet paper. You take the middle thing out and wrap it up so you don't have to struggle to do basic things.
Many items in a hurricane preparedness bucket can be used in a number of different ways, from tarps to the bucket itself.
You can actually sit on the bucket, and if the wells are out and you have no power, it's almost like a portable porta potty, especially if you have small kids. You just line it with a plastic bag, has some Lysol.
While everyone needs to have the essentials, some may decide to buy camping equipment like this battery-operated fan as a way to stay cool after the storm. Other items that can be found in the camping section include solar-powered phone chargers or even a solar oven for cooking some of the non-perishable food in your kit.
You're not going to have any power, so you want to make sure that you have things in the bucket that kind of make life more comfortable for you.
Bush suggests buying a few items at a time to avoid spending a lot of money all at once.
Now is the time to prepare, not October, not 3 days before it happens, but now is the time for people to prepare for hurricanes because it happened once. It can happen again.
Some good stuff, a couple of things I might pick up. Thank you, Jennifer.
Straight ahead, we'll let you know the proper way to evacuate when a hurricane is coming.
A charity goes under the microscope.
You paid him $1,000. You received $12,000 from the state of Arkansas. That's a pretty good charity.
Judge Judy.
Monday at 7:30 on ABC 27.
AAA tree experts. We go above and beyond.
Don't commit a crime by going anywhere else. Big Bend Lawn Enforcement is the leading provider of small engine repair and dealer of professional-grade lawn care machines. From push mowers to zero-turn, Big Bend Lawn Enforcement has 34 years of experience and knows how to help get the job done. Come in today and get yourself the best mower money can buy. Big Bend Lawn Enforcement, located at 2764 West Tennessee.
At Parker Services, we take great pride in knowing that our work improves the quality of people's lives.
At Parker Services, we sell the highest quality equipment at an affordable price.
The fact is, we know there's no one budget that works for everyone.
That's why we provide options that fit your needs.
And the same with installation. We build it to fit your home or business.
And with our experienced professionals, we provide expert guidance to all of our customers.
Call us today.
Right This Minute is TV's #1 daily viral video show. Right This Minute.
Weekdays at 10:30 on ABC 27.
Welcome back to our WTXL Hurricane Special, Prepare Now. I'm WTXL First Alert Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse. One of the most important things to consider in a hurricane emergency is if and when you need to leave the area and evacuate. Not everybody should head out right away. There are specific zones and a procedure for getting on the road.
When it comes to storm preparation, a crucial decision that you may need to make is whether or not you should evacuate. If you live along or near the coast or in a manufactured home, you need to add an evacuation plan to your storm preparation.
Make sure that they have their items around their property secured and that they do have an evacuation kit.
Each coastal county in the state of Florida has evacuation zones, and when mandatory orders are issued for your zone, you need to go.
They're responsible for the items around their property because of the wind and flooding. We are in a coastal low-lying area.
Check with your local emergency management and city government if you're curious about if you should evacuate or not.
The Wakulla County Emergency Management, and with the assistance of the Wakulla County Sheriff's Department and Highway Patrol, they go door to door to make sure everybody's aware it's evacuation.
And if you don't live in a mobile home or evacuation zone, the best option for you may be to stay put and ride out the storm. It helps keep the roadways clearer, allowing those who need to evacuate get to where they need to go quickly. And if you have to ride out the storm, know that many houses and apartment buildings are safe, as long as you're inside, away from the windows and the elements.
Before Hurricane Michael, several people gassed up and evacuated the area. We ran into one woman, Katie Castor, as she was getting gas, but decided to stay put at her home in Tallahassee. We then followed up with Katie after Hurricane Michael hit. Well, now we're checking back in with her and her mom to see how they're getting ready for this year's hurricane season.
For the past 7 months, this is where Katie Castor has slept.
And this cat sleeps with me every night, too. So it's the three of us.
If it doesn't look like a bedroom, that's because it's not.
It's the dining room. So I have a curtain for the door.
Castor's bedroom was destroyed in October by an unwanted visitor. And you had how many trees that fell on your house?
We had 2 that fell on the house and 1 that fell on the shed in the back. The 2 that were on the house were the bad ones, because the one went all the way over the house and the other one was the one that hit my room and brought the ceiling down and the enclosure.
While Katie's been sleeping here in the dining room for the past 7 months, her mom has been sleeping not too far away here in the living room. Not a whole lot of privacy.
No, it was like, well, you know, we're okay, so we just made the best of it.
It's been 7 months, but things are getting back to normal. Just a few weeks ago, Castor got a new roof. Repairs were made to the damaged walls and trusses, but signs of Michael can still be seen.
Pool still, it's not fixed. It won't be fixed until June and possibly July. Gosh.
While they don't want to think about another hurricane season beginning while they're still dealing with the effects of the last one.
The feeling when those trees started hitting, you just can't explain.
They say this time they'll be better prepared. Meanwhile, Castor and her mom have made the best of it, even naming a turtle who's made her pool his home. You guessed it. Michael.
Katie says this year, at the first sign of a hurricane, she and her mom plan to hit the road with their animals.
Getting the word out into the community about how we need to prepare for the season ahead is essential. It's one of the things the First Alerts weather team does often. When an organization calls and asks us to speak to them, we jump at the opportunity. From the youngest minds to folks with the most local experience, in hurricane season and year-round, it's part of our mission to inform viewers not just through a screen, but in person. We enjoy the interactions that only intermingling with our neighbors can provide, answering a question about tropical terminology, debunking or verifying a statement of folklore, explaining why we have and need hurricanes.
There needs to be a way for that heat to be released, and the one way that happens is through the formation of low-pressure systems and hurricanes.
We appreciate the opportunities to clear up the confusion that sometimes surrounds tropical concepts or preparedness efforts, creating a hurricane emergency action plan early.
Those who had already a set plan of action were able to just implement that plan of action and get the ball rolling.
Customizing personal or family hurricane survival kits.
What would you need in order to get through at least 3 days of interrupted services?
Determining the need to evacuate.
If there's a threat of water inundation, the evacuation orders will be triggered based on zones.
We live here too, and one way we can ensure our readiness for the hurricane season is for us to reach out. directly to you.
It's really great that you guys are able to share as much information as you can with as many people in the community as you can.
Yeah, I really think it's one of the most important things we do. Still ahead, we'll take a look at the upcoming forecast for this year's hurricane season.
Plus, after a storm hits, who should you call and how soon can you expect help to recover?
At the top of the hour, join me at our WTXL Tallahassee Facebook page for an interactive experience answering your questions and getting answers about the hurricane season and how you can be ready for the season ahead.
We have made it mandatory that every single client that calls Fasig Brooks Law Offices is going to talk to an attorney. It's a relationship business, and the number one most important relationship is the relationship between the attorney and the client. If you develop that relationship with your client, then when you're fighting with the insurance company, when you're arguing on their behalf, you're arguing for a friend. You're arguing for somebody that you care about.
I hear stories where the lawyers haven't even met that client.
Oh.
You know, they just dealt with staff.
Yeah.
How can you fight for someone you don't know?
Right.
Yeah.
Every single client gets my cell phone number. I lock them into my phone. They lock me into their phone. I say, call me, text me anytime. Nights, weekends, it doesn't matter. Because the relationship that we build with these clients, and I've been, you guys know that I've been preaching this at every single meeting, every month. The relationship that we build with these clients, that's what makes or breaks the case.
Court TV has returned to television because everyone deserves their day in court.
With live gavel-to-gavel trial coverage from across America.
Guilty.
Guilty, not guilty. Only one team can bring you this real-life drama. And only one network will show you the truth behind true crime.
The all-new Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tune into Court TV on channel 27.5.
It takes two to dance.
She threatened me. That's not true. You're nuts!
But it takes three to tango. 3 opinions.
Get him out of my courtroom.
3 personalities.
Not everybody's the three of us.
Hot bench.
Weekdays at 4.
Does the name Umberto sound familiar? What about Chantal, Jerry, or Melissa? They were all names used during the tame 2013 Atlantic hurricane season. But if this season produces as many named storms as forecast, we could be in for a busy hurricane season and hear those names used once again. So what are the chances of Melissa forming or other names like Nestor, Sebastian, or Wendy? Here's First Alert Chief Meteorologist Casanova Nurse with a look at what we can expect this hurricane season.
Many organizations, from government agencies to university research groups to private forecasting firms, analyze data to come up with hurricane season outlooks. The practice was pioneered by the late Dr. William Gray of Colorado State University in the 1980s. And now over a dozen forecasts from different entities are released before and during the hurricane season. Several factors are considered, including projections for ocean water temperatures, global wind patterns in the lower and upper atmosphere, amounts of moisture, and intruding dry or dusty air. An average season produces 12 named storms, about 6 hurricanes, and 2 major hurricanes of at least Category 3 intensity. For 2019, these projections are weighing the patterns of cooler Atlantic water temperatures and the chances for stronger upper winds in parts of the Atlantic basin. If these trends persist, it could lead to less frequent cyclone development. Nonetheless, some firms are expecting as few as 3 hurricanes to as many as 10. A flashback to the 2013 season that featured Hurricane Umberto showed projected expectations ranging from 5 to 10 hurricanes. However, the end result had Umberto and Ingrid as the season's only hurricanes. But Ingrid triggered massive flooding in Mexico as a tropical storm, causing 32 deaths and earning itself the distinction of being the only name on the 2013 list not to be reused this year. Even if the numbers this season lean lower than past seasons, don't let them give you a false sense of security. 2013's Ingrid and last year's Michael are proof positive. It only takes one hurricane to arrive in our territory to make it a memorable season.
One of the things people had to deal with was what to do after a hurricane made landfall.
After the storm has passed, it's important to determine who you need to call to figure out how to begin the recovery process.
The first thing a homeowner should do as soon as possible after a storm is contact their insurance provider.
They have the drones. They take a lot of steps to make sure everything is covered and look at your home.
Check your policy now and make sure all damage is covered. Something claims adjusters say many homeowners overlook on their policies until it's too late.
They need to make sure and check their area if they're in a flood area or if they are in a flood-prone area.
Wait to contact your insurance company until authorities and the utilities companies say it's safe to go back. In addition, anyone with or without insurance in most areas can go to the county's emergency information portal to report damage and fill out a disaster assessment survey, which is provided to FEMA.
What the county does is liaises with the federal government to ensure that they understand the scope of the damage following a hurricane.
Federal individual assistance is cash for damages, loss of income, loss of food, and also medication replacement. FEMA is activated only after the president has approved a federal disaster declaration. Once that happens, call FEMA at 1-800-621-3362, or you can go online to disasterassistance.gov.
Insurance may not cover everything, and FEMA may be able to fill the gaps in your insurance coverage. If for any reason FEMA can't help you, we may be able to connect you with an agency that can.
After the break, we'll show you how you can stay weather-wise all year long.
Prepare now. The WTXL ABC 27 Hurricane Special is back in just a minute.
Heating and cooling is the job we do. Systems, service, installation too. 222-7722. Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away. Parker Services. Comfort's just a call away.
Don't commit a crime by going anywhere else. Big Ben Lawn Enforcement is the leading provider of small engine repair and dealer of professional-grade lawn care machines. From push mowers to zero-turn, Big Ben Lawn Enforcement has 34 years of experience and knows how to help get the job done. Come in today and get yourself the best mower money can buy. Big Ben Lawn Enforcement, located at 2764 West Tennessee.
AAA tree experts. We go above and beyond.
We've packed a lot of useful information over the last half hour, but there are still some tropical topics we haven't covered.
No worries, though. We've got you covered with our long-running digital severe weather guide that we've updated for the 2019 hurricane season.
You can download it for free from our website, WTXL.tv. And take the reliability of First Alert's weather with you all year round with our Storm Shield app. Free for your Apple or Android from your mobile device's app store.
All the information you need to know to prepare now for what we hope will be a safe hurricane season.
Thank you for watching.